Welcome to St. Joseph's Institute of Management, Bangalore, Karnataka's oldest business school, established in 1968. SJIM is part of a 450-year-old international network of Jesuit educational institutions.
SJIM's greatest strength is its brand image, which is born out of its rich heritage. Our extensive alumni network, built up over 65 years, make our graduates recognized and respected for their values and work ethic in the industry.
Our campus is off MG Road in Bangalore Central Business District, where students experience excellent infrastructure and cutting-edge technologies.
We are one of the top 5 business schools in Bangalore, and we were ranked in the top 125 business schools in India in the Government of India's NIRF rankings. Our program is recognized by the AICTE and the AIU, and we are NBA accredited and are moving towards the international AACSB accreditation.
Our average salary is around 9 lakhs per annum. This year, the highest placement offer made was 22 lakhs and has been steadily increasing. We consistently place almost 100% of our students in top MNCs and in a domain of their choice.
We proactively embrace students of diverse backgrounds. SJIM believes that no students should be denied admission due to lack of funds. Our fees are affordable. There are collateral-free loans available from SBI, and large number of our students do get scholarships. Hostel facilities are available for both boys and girls.
Throughout the year, there are many cultural, co-curricular and sports activities which help us build strong bonds with each other. SJIM is an inclusive institution where different backgrounds are respected and talents are developed.
We have an excellent faculty body drawn from some of India's and the world's leading institutions, and many opportunities to connect with the industry. Students can specialize in 2 out of 5 specializations which we offer, which are finance, marketing, human resources management, business analytics and operations.
At SJIM, the hallmark is the synergy between academia and industry. Frequent industry conclaves are organized. Alumni mentorship is facilitated. Industry visits are arranged. And strategic partnerships are fostered, all within the dynamic ecosystem for nurturing tomorrow's leaders.
At SJIM, we take pride in nurturing the global mindset, a commitment reflected in our strategic collaborations with business schools in US, Mexico, Spain, Philippines, Malaysia, and Taiwan.
Our selection process is firmly based on merit. We evaluate academic excellence, entrance exam scores like CAT, work experience, and conduct rigorous personal interviews. We look for well-rounded individuals with domain knowledge and strong communication. St. Joseph's Institute of Management, where opportunities are boundless, friendships are lifelong, and dreams are within reach. Join us at St. Joseph's Institute of Management, Bangalore, and be a part of a journey that will change your life trajectory.
I request our guests to occupy their seats in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, faculty, and students, I welcome you to SJIM's 6th International Conference, UTKARSH 2024. The theme for this year is Leading Digital Transformation, Past, Present, and the Future. Over the next 2 days, we will witness a sharing of knowledge, insights, and success stories across business domains, highlighting the impact of digitalization. Knowledge is like a flame. The more it's shared, the brighter it burns. May I now invite our guests, Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharathi, our Director, Reverend Dr. Manoj D'Souza SJ, our Dean, Dr. A.R. Rajgopalan, and Faculty Coordinator, Dr. Deepika Joshi, and Director of Corporate Relations, Professor Rajendra Desai, to light the lamp symbolizing the flame of knowledge. Thank you, dignitaries. I request the dignitaries to occupy their seats on the dais. I'd now like to call upon our Director, Reverend Dr. Manoj D'Souza, to welcome the gathering.
Distinguished guests on the dais, Reverend Fathers, faculty and staff, Professor Shom, invited guests, alumni, research scholars, students, and well-wishers. I stand before you with great joy and anticipation as we gather here today for the 6th Annual Leadership Conference organized by St. Joseph's Institute of Management. It is truly a momentous occasion as we delve into the theme that has been at the forefront of innovation and progress in recent times: digital transformation, past, present, and future. I extend a warm welcome to each of you. Your commitment to knowledge, progress is what makes this gathering truly special. I accord a warm welcome to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharathi, the Managing Director of ACE Micromatics Group. Renowned for his entrepreneurial acumen, visionary approach to technology, and leadership in shaping thoughtful perspectives. Additionally, we have the guest of honor yet to come. I also would like to welcome him, Mr. George Varghese, our guest of honor. He is the Chief Human Resource Officer of Shahi Exports. He will join us shortly. Mr. Varghese brings a wealth of experience, having served in various leadership roles in the field of human resources. We are honored to have such distinguished personalities with us today, whose expertise and insights will undoubtedly enrich our discussions. As we embark on this intellectual journey, exploring the evolution of digital transformation, we find ourselves at a crossroads where the past has laid the foundation, the present is shaping our experiences, and the future holds promise yet to unfold. It is a theme that resonates deeply with the ethos of St. Joseph's Institute of Management, where we strive to empower our students to be leaders who not only adapt to change but drive transformative processes in their respective fields. In the sessions that lie ahead, we have the privilege of learning from the experiences and insights of top industry leaders who have been at the forefront of digital transformation across diverse fields. Their stories, challenges, and successes will undoubtedly inspire us to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of technology and innovation. We have a galaxy of 25 distinguished industry professionals who will be interacting with us. Additionally, we are honored to have eminent scholars present their research papers, contributing valuable perspectives to the discourse on digital transformation. In terms of research, we have received 117 abstracts with 64 full papers. Authors have submitted their research articles and case studies in diverse fields of management like green economics, artificial intelligence, circular economics, digitization, and many more. In these 2 days, 90 authors from across the country will present their research work under 10 tracks in a hybrid mode. Further, this will be followed by possible publication of the research work in high-quality research journals. I wish these authors and presenters a very productive research session with encouraging discussions and exchange of knowledge. This conference serves not only as a platform for sharing knowledge, but also a catalyst for fostering collaborations between academia and industry, a synergy that is essential for the progress of 21st century. The primary purpose of this conference extends beyond the exchange of ideas. It is an opportunity for St. Joseph's Institute of Management to strengthen its industry connect and position itself as a hub of cutting-edge research. We aspire to be among the top research centers in our country, and this gathering marks a significant step towards achieving that goal. This is a Jesuit institution. In the spirit of our Jesuit ethos, the theme of this conference, digital transformation, past, present, and future, aligns seamlessly with our commitment to holistic education and ethical leadership. Our approach emphasizes not just the technological evolution, but also ethical considerations and social responsibilities associated with digital transformation. In exploring the past, present, and the future of this journey, we seek to instill in our students a deep sense of responsibility, encouraging them to harness technology for the greater good and fostering a commitment to ethical leadership in an increasingly interconnected and digitized world. I encourage each one of you to actively participate in the sessions, panel discussions, and networking opportunities that this conference offers. Let us engage in meaningful conversations, challenge our perspectives, and forge connections that will contribute to the advancement of knowledge and the transformative journey ahead. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to each one of you, and especially dear students. May this conference be a beacon of enlightenment, collaboration, and inspiration. May God bless us all.
Thank you, Father, for sharing the primary reason of this conference, the importance of progressing digitally and learning continuously in this digitized world. I would like to request our Dean, Dr. A.R. Rajgopalan, to welcome our chief guest and keynote speaker, Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharathi, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. May I request the dignitaries to occupy their place in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharathi. Mr. Bharathi is the Managing Director of ACE Micromatics Group, India's first mover and leader in Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing IIoT products. An entrepreneur and a technology visionary, he brings cutting-edge technology and thought leadership from global leaders. His vision and leadership have helped create several industry-first cutting-edge softwares which are deployed at Fortune 500 companies. He holds an MS from the State University of New York and a Bachelor of Engineering from Bangalore. Mr. Bharathi serves as the Director of the Board at Indian Machine Tools Manufacturers Association, IMTMA, member of CII's National Manufacturing Committee, CII Smart Manufacturing Council, and other entities. He served as India's 2023 G20 Task Force lead on Digitization Industry 4.0. It is with immense pride that I welcome our guest, Mr. Chandrasekhar Bharathi. May I request you, sir, to address the gathering.
Reverend Dr. Manoj D'Souza, dignitaries, management, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here today at one of the finest institutions in Bangalore, in Karnataka, and in India. Today, I've been asked to talk about digitization or the digital transformation. To segue into that, I would like to share 3 perspectives of mine, hoping that it will add value to you. Right? And before I do that, let me congratulate the organizers and the participants of UTKARSH, which has become such a value-add platform for the whole ecosystem. Let's give a big hand to the organizers and the participants. So, before I get into actual digital transformation, I'm sure you've all heard about inspiring stories of soldiers and people who fought with courage and perhaps even sacrificed their lives for the country. And many of them typically tend to be sort of your age, in their 20s or whatever, right? Can you think of why they did something like that? What made them do those acts of bravery and courage? Is it because they thought, what is my next promotion going to be? My next pay raise, my bonus? Is that why they did that? If you think of it, they all had a higher calling even beyond their personal glory. I mean, call it what you might, Desha Bhakti or pride of the nation or whatever it is. This is my first message to you today. And we'll see how we actually tie this back to digitization. Right? My first message to you is, we may not be soldiers, but no matter what we do, if we start with a much, much larger purpose in life, we're going to do some pretty outstanding things. And we're going to do things that we never thought we could do otherwise. Right? The second message to you is sort of with my own background. See, like the speaker introduced me, I am from Bangalore. I did my Bachelor of Engineering from BMS College, another venerable institution. Went to America to do my master's. Spent about 15 years there with big companies, billion-dollar Silicon Valley startups, and then came back to my family business ecosystem, right? And my ecosystem is called ACE Micromatics Group. We have multiple companies there, but fundamentally, we are India's largest manufacturer of what's called precision CNC machines. How many of you have heard of what a CNC machine might be? I see a few hands. Okay. Now, let's do a small, interesting experiment. We all have our human hair on top of our head, and some of us have less than others, right? But do you know what the thickness of a human hair is? If you take a millimeter, divide that into 10 parts, so that is 1/10 of a millimeter, a human hair is 1/2 of that, which is typically 50 microns. Our machines that we manufacture go to accuracies of 5 microns. And just to illustrate that, let's do this experiment. Let's all please hold up our finger and move it as little as you can. The most precise movement that you can do. How much will that be? Maybe a millimeter, 2 millimeters, right? Right? Our machines go to 1/20th or 1/10th this accuracy of what a God-made object can do. Now, this is because our machines are a combination of very high technology of structural engineering, mechanical, electrical, electronics, software. Any field of engineering that you have is represented in building this kind of precision machinery. And these are the kind of facilities in which we make these machines. You will see that these are pretty intense, pretty high-tech, pretty state-of-the-art. Manufacturing is actually clean, green, exciting, and no longer what it used to be, say, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when we used to think that, oh, manufacturing means that's something I don't want my child to go, right? It's no more like that. Now, why do I talk about this? Because we talked about how these high-tech things come together with the convergence of so many things. Today, you think of any object. It could be a drone, it could be an aircraft, a missile, nuclear, Chandrayaan, which we all take great pride in. If you look at that, it's all about convergence. So this is the second message I'd like to give to you. Moving forward, anything that you would deal with in the future is only going to be about convergence. So don't worry about what kind of industry you get into, which company you join. Know that eventually convergence is going to play out. Now, in this kind of a world, how do we manage? We need to make sure that in the first few years of your life, you actually pursue opportunities that allow you great learning opportunities. Money will come. Don't worry about money. Look at what makes you learn, go deep, go broad, try to accumulate as much as convergence as you can, right? And as part of this convergence is the fields that you people are studying, which is, management, HR, finance, economics, whatever else is taught in this university. And that's sort of the glue to making organizations happen, okay? Now, before I actually get into digitization, there have been 4 large-scale transformations over the last 250 years. You might have heard of some of these nomenclatures. The first one happened when the steam engine was invented. That led to countries like Britain gaining great wealth and importance because of productivity. And then they colonized everybody, right? The second happened when mass production of power led to large plants being set up with assembly lines. That is typically when America had its resurgence. The third is computerization, PLCs, those kind of things. The fourth is where we are today. Now, the thing that I would like you to look at is, between the first industrial revolution and the second one, there was roughly about 120 years. The next one happened in about 75 years. The next, which is 3 to 4, happened in about 35 years. Industry 5 is coming, okay? And that's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. The pace of change is so rapid that today's knowledge will be outdated tomorrow. Now, with all this, what do? How do we keep up with what needs to be done into the future? So, competencies like problem solving and creativity become far more important than just knowledge. See, all of you, I'm sure, use ChatGPT and Google and all that today, right? Hopefully not for your exams, right? But the point is, knowledge is a click away. But problem solving creativity is here to stay. And to develop that, there is a competency which I'm sure is taught in some of your courses called critical thinking. If you pursue critical thinking, that will give you the tools for you to be great problem solvers and creative experts. I would like to contextualize my speech on digitization from a Indian context, because that's the context in which we live today. Right? Today, it's a great time, it's an exciting time to be in India. About 10 years ago, our economy was number 11. Today, we are 5, right? And soon the projection is we'll be number 3, right? That itself is transformative. In a generation, if we can see that, that's transformative. The second is, today, there's so many different metrics. But one of the metrics that many of us are very, very passionate about is, in 1 month, we Indians do as many financial transactions as America does in 3 years. That is the scale of what transformation is happening on the digital side. And if you sort of project out, what McKinsey's and others look at, in the next 25 years, India is going to be number 1 in most fields. We're going to be number 1 in the education sector with 60 crore students. Think of the scale. See, today you are here, so many hundreds of students. Imagine being able to scale that up to 5 times or 10 times. What is required to do that? We are going to be number 1 in financial transactions with 35,000 crores of transactions happening every year, right? We're going to be number 1 in EVs. So, a lot of different things to be excited about. How are we going to make all this happen? Is it going to happen automatically? Automatically? Yes? No? There are 5 vectors that needs to be looked at for this to happen. It's political, economic, legal, technology, and social. Only when these factors come together properly, we have the potential to realize what might appear as our destiny, right? Now, who's going to do that? The reverends here? Me? Your deans? No. It is young people like you, which is why it's very, very important to look at what you would be doing in the future, given the opportunities and challenges that you're going to be presented. And you're going to be presented with both in equal measure. Okay? So with this, let me actually get into digitization. So I talked to you about 3 things: the purpose, the convergence, and the change. Let's sort of contextualize that to India as well, right? When we talk about digitization, why does it matter? What's the purpose for India? Right? The red box there is the most significant one, which is 1 crore people of sort of your age or maybe 2 years less are coming into the employment age every single year. And they all need productive jobs, productive careers, productive lives. It has to happen at any cost, right? The second is, beyond the specifics of farm jobs, non-farm jobs, the bottom line is, all of this is predicated upon a very rapid rise in India's GDP. You ain't got a fast enough GDP, you ain't got the ability to get the jobs. That's the bottom line. Okay? Now, I want to share with you, again, I presume many of you are economics management students here, right? If you look at the need for jobs, jobs need to grow or at least at a CAGR of 1 to 1.5% every year to meet these requirements. there are two correlations to that. One is GDP growth. What I have circled right now is a high growth scenario where roughly at 8% GDP, we're going to have the CAGR of 1.5% jobs. The middle one is the productivity. Don't worry about what productivity actually technically means, but we all have a sense of what productivity is, right? So if the productivity every year is in the 6.5, 7 range, we are fine. Now look at what happens if productivity is even 1% or 1.5% less. The number of jobs we are going to get is a CAGR of 0.3, and that's going to lead to social chaos. So this is key. Productivity is the enabler. The question is, what can drive it? See, when I sit on the boards of CII or interact with the ministries at the center, these are the kind of discussions that we have with data. And one thing that came about is you have to identify sectors that grow at much faster than the required GDP. And the two sectors that came out, champion sectors, is manufacturing and construction industry. And even in manufacturing, there are different types. Some of them have the ability to grow at even 30%, like auto component exports, right? So this is how policy making is done. I don't want to get into the thick of policy making, but this is the funda of why productivity matters, why any of these things matters as we go forward, right? So this is incidentally the government's nuanced policy on the 4 pillars of economic growth for India, right? And the key focus is on manufacturing, because manufacturing is a sector which can grow at double or triple the rate of the required GDP of the country, right? Today, Indian manufacturing contributes about 17% of GDP. The growth path is that it will contribute up to 25-30% of an expanded GDP. What that means is, without getting to the specifics, we are going to have to push in trillions of dollars of investment so that manufacturing can go from 500 billion to about 2 or 3 billion dollars. And that's where the jobs are. Today, manufacturing employs 30 million people in the industry. The need for manufacturing is to employ close to 80 million or 100 million people, right? So this is sort of, now you see the purpose of which productivity and digitization plays a part, okay? Again, here, this may be some research paper for somebody. There are different aspects of the manufacturing industry. Some of them are mature, some of them are maturing, some of them are sunrise. Each of them will have their growth paths, and each of them will have their methods of pushing productivity and digitization. All I want to tell you is, if you look at the country as a whole, India's labor productivity is half that of China. Our capital productivity is also roughly half of that of China. So overall, China is about 5 or 6 times more productive than us if you take the multiplication of labor and capital productivity. So there is a great need for us to push up. And another shocking statistic I'd like to share is, depending on the industry, for example, South Korean chemical industry is 30 times more productive than India, right? So there's a huge opportunity for us to not just catch up, but also leapfrog using things that are very, very transformative, which is, again, digital is one of them. So to drive productivity, and this sort of plays into a lot of your topics of interest, systems, management infrastructure, and ultimately the capabilities and competencies to go towards the skill sets required. The potential results for India would be 6x if you get it right, right? What that means is, I mean, I don't want to make it very cheesy, but think of whatever job offers you're going to get after you graduate. Imagine it is going to be 6 times that. Would you like it? Do you want to play a role in making that happen for yourself? That is the responsibility that you have to take on to yourself, okay? And where digitization plays a role is, I mean, you call it Industry 4, digitization, these are all different forms, names of the same form, is it leads to not just acceleration, but sustenance of such productivity gains. And that's where digitization plays a part. Broadly speaking, digitization for anything takes these 6 steps. The first is you get all your data in digital format, make sure it's connected so it can be accessed. Then comes visibility, transparency, the ability to predict into the future, right? And sort of a autonomous self-healing zone, so to speak. So these are the 6 broad steps of digitization. So whether you apply to HR or management systems or the textile industry or the garment, or any industry, largely it follows that, right? Now, where this gets both exciting and complex is we've all played with Rubik's Cubes in our lives, correct? A Rubik Cube actually has 3 axes. One, the x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis. Industry 4 or Industry 5 or whatever is going to come up is exactly going to be like that. There is going to be 3 axes. One axis is all the business processes that any company would have had. And you can I'm not sure if you're going to even buy cars, right? So it's going to transform the business models itself. Okay. So this is the transformative impact of digital. Okay. So in order to do this, you need to have an environment or a platform where this is one such platform that we have built at our own group, which we also share with our customers in the larger ecosystem, where we take in high velocity, high volume, high variety data from disparate sources and put them into 3 different paths. One is called a hot path, which is a real-time path, a warm, which is sort of near real-time, it could be as an event has happened, it could be hourly, it could be those kind of things. The third is a historian path for eventual mining of data. And once we do that, we can provide integrations to other systems, tie up the digital workflows, have an entire ecosystem of apps being built to address any of these axes of intersections that I talked about, right? So this is the way to go about digitization at scale. Okay? And everybody talks about AI these days. These are the aspects of AI which I'm sure every one of you students here who are in the hall, who are watching outside, are trying to make matrix in saying, which of these parts of a business process can I play a role in, right? Whether it's digital, whether it's AI, right? So these are the aspects of how digital and AI can play a role moving forward. So we looked at the past, we looked at what is happening today, we're looking at what is in the future. And when we do this, we keep in mind 4 vectors of digitization. The 4 vectors are technology, people, process, and data. And largely there are 4 different transitions. The first is get to a stable or foundational transition. Second is start to drive efficiency. Along each of these vectors, it means something. Get into predictive and be future ready. So these are the 4 vectors, and this is what it means for each of the vectors as we move forward. So the first 2 are sort of transactional or incremental. The last 2 are truly strategic in nature or transformational in nature. Okay? So when you get it right, this is what happens. Ultimately, you have a framework for creating value and sustaining it forever. Now, let's get back to the 3 things that I talked about. Start with purpose. Do you see why that is important, even in the context of digitization? Right? Second, convergence. Do you see how all of this means only one thing, which is convergence? And third, rapid change. So to adapt to rapid change, it is just beyond only knowledge. It's problem solving, creativity, critical thinking, these type of things. And getting this right is the future for you. I trust that you'll all have a vision which will sustain you for the rest of your career. You'll go out and do some great work, make an impact for yourself, your family, your country. Right? I thank you for this opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bharathi, for showing that the way forward is convergence and encouraging us to always search for the opportunities of learning. Truly, competence, problem solving, and creativity is the essential tools to face tomorrow. I'd now like to invite Reverend Dr. Manoj D'Souza to honor our chief guest with a memento. Thank you, Father. Now we have a short induction of two distinguished professors. I invite Father Alvin Varghese to take over.
Good morning. Dear distinguished guests, faculty members, students, academicians, researchers from various institutions who will be presenting your research findings, and those who are watching live this program on SJIM YouTube. It gives me immense joy to introduce to you and welcome two distinguished academicians who have excelled in their own field and have been appointed as the distinguished professors of St. Joseph's Institute of Management, Bangalore. Professor Vivek Murthy and Dr. Parthasarathi Shom are these two luminaries who are amidst us today. May I invite Professor Vivek Murthy to the dais and take the seat of honor. Professor Vivek Murthy was earlier professor at IIM Bangalore, and prior to that senior economist, Federal Reserve Bank of New York. He obtained his PhD from University of California, Los Angeles. He has written extensively in the area of unemployment, economic issues, applied macroeconomics, and financial markets. While in New York, initially he was working on GDP and inflation projections in the Domestic Research Division, and later was senior economist in the Foreign Exchange Analysis function. Prior to that, he taught at Pennsylvania State University. Dr. Murthy joined SJIM in January 2023 as distinguished professor. Since then, he has been very active in SJIM. He has taken guest lectures at our institute as well. It gives me immense pleasure, dear Professor Murthy, to welcome you into the SJIM and the Josephite fraternity. May your time with us be pleasant, full of memories with our faculty, staff, and stakeholders. We wish you all the best. Now, may I request our director, Reverend Dr. Manoj D'Souza, Dean A.R. Rajgopalan, faculty member Dr. Binny Cherian, and student representative Mr. Jonathan to welcome and honor Dr. Vivek Murthy with a shawl, Mysore peta, bouquet of flowers, and memento. Binny, go for it. Thank you very much to you all for honoring Dr. Vivek Murthy and welcoming him into SJIM fraternity. Now may I request Dr. Parthasarathi Shom to come to the stage and occupy the seat of honor. Dr. Parthasarathi Shom, who is a world-renowned taxation expert, who was until recently Senior Visiting Fellow, London School of Economics, and Founder Chairman, International Tax Research and Analysis Foundation, ITRAF, India. He was professor at American University, Washington, D.C., where he rose to the tenured professor. He served at the International Monetary Fund for 21 years in various capacities, including the first senior economist in the office of the Managing Director, Chief of Tax Policy, and Director as Ambassador to the IMF Singapore Institute. He has provided technical assistance in the taxation field to more than 30 countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and Latin America. He was Chief Economist to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC, United Kingdom. He served in several official capacities in India, including Chairman with the rank of Minister of State, Tax Administration Reform Commission, Government of India, Advisor at the rank of Minister of State to the Indian Finance Minister during the term of Dr. Manmohan Singh government. He was permanent invitee to the state-level finance minister's value-added tax empowered committee. Dr. Shom received the highest civilian honor of the Brazilian government, Commander of the Order of the Southern Cross in 2000 for contributions to Brazilian tax reform. Dr. Pato has written extensively, published many books, and has written articles in research journals and newspapers. He has been on TV and well sought after for TV debates and discussions on economics. It has been a while since we came to know Dr. Pato. He is simple, humble, and has unique personality. He doesn't seek any attention. A few months ago, Dr. Pato delivered two very interesting lectures in our own Jesuit institution, St. Joseph's College of Commerce, SJCC, both for the faculty and students. When we requested Dr. Pato to be a distinguished professor at SJIM and offer us his guidance and mentor us in the areas of his expertise, he readily agreed, even though he had decided to retire from all public engagements. Dear Dr. Shom, we heartily welcome you into our SJM community and thank you for accepting our offer to be the distinguished professor at SJIM. We wish you all the best and many, many years of good health and long life. May our time with SJIM and Josephite community be pleasant and memorable one. Ad multos annos. Now, may I request our Director, Reverend Dr. Manoj D'Souza, Dean A.R. Rajagopalan, Academic Dean Professor Lawrence, Student Representative Ms. Mithila, to welcome and honor Dr. Shom with a shawl, Mysore Peta, bouquet of flowers, and memento. Thank you very much to you all.
Thank you, Father Alvin. We have in our midst today our guest of honor, Mr. George Varghese, Chief HR Officer at Shahi Exports. He is a versatile human resources leader with 22 years of experience. Mr. Varghese has worked in manufacturing, IT, ITES, retail, pharma, and entrepreneurship. He started off his career as a specialist in talent acquisition and total rewards, followed by generalist roles. He has led teams for the past 15 plus years. He is a focused business partner who thrives in driving HR transformation and startup of HR in medium and large-scale enterprises. He is passionate about HR tech and influencer in the HR domain. He has established greenfield projects in manufacturing and IT industries. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to our chief guest, Mr. George Varghese. We are honored to have you with us today, sir, and we eagerly anticipate the enlightening moments you will bring us. May I request our director to welcome our chief guest with a bouquet of flowers. Without further ado, I would like to call upon Mr. George Varghese to address the audience.
Okay, good morning everyone. After such a power-packed introduction and felicitation of distinguished, professors and people who have contributed to the society immensely, I find myself very meek to talk on digital transformation here. But my agenda today is to basically throw some light on what it really means in a corporate environment and what are the challenges I have seen, particularly in the companies that I have worked, and some of the examples of where I would have seen some magic happening due to digital transformation. Okay, so just for my understanding, this is all first year MBA students here, or? Okay. Some second year, okay, good. When I joined for my MBA, first of all, I'm also very honored to be here because I am myself a missionary educated guy. I'm a Xaverian for life, did my schooling in Xavier's, graduation in Marivenius, post-graduation from XISS. So I have completely been, molded by priests and nuns. So very, very honored to be on this stage. It's very special, unlike any other forum. Thank you, Mr. Desai, for this. Okay, now transformation is a word, which is probably used on a daily basis in our corporate setup. For seldom any day goes by when we don't hear this word transformation. But I can tell you with confidence, probably 60% of the corporate executives, they still don't understand the real meaning of transformation, right? The word is very, very loosely used. So yesterday I thought, I should prepare a little bit as I'm going to speak to MBA students, So I looked up the Cambridge Dictionary for the meaning of the word transformation, right? So I'll start with that. A complete change in the appearance or character of something or someone, especially so that the thing or person is improved, right? So I just want all of you to keep this in mind as the meaning of transformation, right? So we talk about business transformation, HR transformation, digital transformation, but the real meaning of transformation, so there is a marked difference between the word change and transformation, right? So change is when you have a certain difference in the state of being, but it may or may not have a great impact on its future state. But transformation specifically can be used only when there is a substantial improvement in the new state of being, right? So with that understanding, I looked upon some of the history of this, right? And I it was very interesting for me. If we take out the word digital, transformation is a continuous journey for humankind, right from the time when we found fire. We have been transforming ourselves. Especially when I was driving to the college today, we got stuck for like almost 15 minutes near Manipal Center, and there were calls coming, where are you, and I was like, is there any transformation possible for the traffic situation of Bangalore? And then I read the other day that government is installing some very special kind of traffic signals, the lights, which is AI enabled, which has a special camera which will see how many cars are waiting in the red signal, and accordingly it will modulate time. So if there are a lot of cars, it will give more green time compared to the other side of the road which has less cars. Now this is already available in Japan for probably last 15-16 years. But this is something which the government is aggressively planting in almost all the major junctions of Bangalore. And I think it's a wonderful idea, because many a times we have seen that we are stuck for no reason when the other road is hardly having any flow. The other very innovative means that I've seen is, again in Japan, is where, based on the flow of the traffic and in the morning hours when the traffic is flowing from north to south, the lanes of that road extends. So the divider in the road is modular, It can change itself to increase the width of the road. Is that transformational? I would say it is, definitely, because it greatly improves the new state of being, right? Okay, with that, I'll come to the corporate world. Obviously, industrialization happened in the early part of this century, and the real digital transformation or technological advancement started after the finding of semiconductors and chips, which happened in the 50s, late 50s, is when we invented microchips and semiconductors. That is when the whole industrial revolution started in terms of how we can do more with less. That was the whole idea. So initially the thought process was completely around how to do more with less, how to get more profits, how to optimize time. So it was more of that. And so I'm keeping it a little broad because I think that context of the past, because the topic is past, present and future, right? So the past, connecting the past is very important to see where the future is going. Now, I am very fortunate to be, a baby boomer from the 70s, because I have seen an era when there was no computer. And then when I started working, I have used telex, fax, then emails. Then I've seen the introduction of phones. So I was a little fortunate to see this complete revolution of the last 30, 40 years. And many of you kids actually have born in the mobile era, right? So it's very important to see how the business world has changed. We have seen the days of memos, going from table to table, and a decision taking almost 7-10 days, to today $1 million investment is on a WhatsApp approval, right? So transformation has happened, but it's a continuous journey, right? So 60s were when the mainframe was developed. The company which kind of industrialized it was IBM, which came up with mainframe solutions where, the opportunity to store large amount of data was created. That again revolutionized the way businesses were done. But it had its own constraints in terms of investment, in terms of location, in terms of virtual, bondage. And then obviously internet came, and it's very interesting to see how the change is happening, right? So if you see from the 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, then it goes like that, right? So as we say, the change was, if it was to the duration of 20, 30 years, a major change in the society happened. Today we are talking it in terms of 6 to 8 years, right? A major change is happening. And that specifically puts a lot of pressure on, professional education and professionally educated students, because what you really study may not be very relevant, say 10 years down the line. So how do you keep yourself updated all the time? Some of the educations, like probably a medicine fraternity or some other fraternity, they are forced to study all the time and keep themselves updated. Such, restrictions are not there in some of the more liberal educations. And that puts even more emphasis that we ourselves should have a plan. I was not fortunate to hear the chief guest speak, so maybe some things might overlap. So please forgive me for that. But the last part was specifically talking about the vision that one needs to have, to embrace digital transformation for the future. Then came the internet era, as I said. The World Wide Web came, and that really kind of transformed the whole digital transformations phase. Companies were able to communicate much more faster, virtually, across the globe. Globalization really took, even though the discussions of globalizations were happening right from 70s, but the real globalization started after the internet era came into being. And then, as we all know, mobiles came, right? Late part of 90s. I was fortunate to work for a company when the whole mobile revolution was going on by the name Flextronics, which manufactures probably the largest number of mobile phones in the world after Foxconn, Flextronics, they're all competitors. So typically all the big brand names that you see, whether it is Apple or Samsung or any of the large players, they don't manufacture their phones. They only design, right? The manufacturing is done by, it's a complete industry called EMS, Electronics Manufacturing Services, or contract manufacturing. So Flextronics is a Fortune 500 company and based across the world. And at that time, I had an opportunity to visit some of the factories in China and Malaysia, where these mobile phones were getting manufactured, and specifically Nokia and Ericsson was market leader at that time. And while in India we were grappling with, even setting up of a factory, with all the licenses and all the restrictions around acquiring land and, getting labor and all these things. Here was a factory running, which could belt out a mobile phone in 47 seconds through a SMT line, And the factory is so huge that you can't see the other end of the factory. It's running in acres, 25,000 people working under one shop floor, belting out mobile phones day in and day out. So that revolution happened right under our eyes. We know right from 2G, 3G, 4G, and now we are on the doorsteps of 5G, right? What it brought with it is what today everybody talks about, right? Cloud computing, right? So from the past, we've come to the present. So today, what is the state? Today, the status of cloud computing, software as a service, where organizations, they don't have to necessarily invest in large servers, mainframes, data centers, enterprise architecture. They can just procure a software as a service. Servers are sitting anywhere in the globe, and the best practices in the industry can just be bought at a fraction of a cost. But it is a service, which means you have to keep paying for life, right? So the whole business model has changed into a subscription model, as I call it, right? And the emergence of tech titans like Google, Microsoft, SAP, and all the companies that you today hear of, they all innovated, and they are today providing software as a service to other corporates or other service providers who can benefit from it in terms of speed, in terms of quality, in terms of timelines. There is definitely a method to the madness. So I just wanted to touch upon two major areas. One is, so how does really a digital transformation work from an organization standpoint? And second, why do it fail? Because the Gartner's report, the latest report says that 64% of the times all digital transformation initiatives fail. But the report also said that 82% of the organizations are disproportionately investing in digital technologies and transformations. And thanks to pandemic, it has led to, it's like a nuclear explosion, the way organizations have started investing in digital, right? Because it really provided a situation where business couldn't be done, right? And for survival, organizations had to embrace digital, right? Organizations which used to be so tight-fisted about physical interviews, right? So how can I select a guy without seeing him? Was completely okay to roll out even a CXO level offer by just doing virtual interviews. Why? Because couldn't travel, right? So in Hindi, like we say, Majburi ka naam Mahatma Gandhi, or necessity is the mother of invention, or whatever. It really happened during the pandemic. Organizations, see, typically everyone is guided by the share market, quarter on quarter results, the margins, and hence the ability to invest is always having a layered structure. The most critical is the machinery and assets, because the production should keep running. Next should be for the processes, business processes, people, and those kind of things. And investment in technology was kind of a luxury, at least for the core industry, as I say. When I say core industry, these are like cements, paints, tires, production oriented industries. And these are basically the customers for IT, right? So IT, it in itself cannot survive, right? They need customers. So there were certain set of early adopters and there were certain set of laggards. Now industries which are more geographically distributed, like retail, financial, insurance, all kinds of industries which is more service oriented, they adopted digital quite early. They didn't wait for the pandemic. And then obviously some best in class companies, even in core industries, they invested before time because they had that vision and strategy to be ahead of the game. But typically an organization, if you look at the curve of investing, they would prioritize other more pressing investments. But pandemic gave a completely different paradigm that changed the whole game, right? So suddenly in a matter of 1 year, Zoom grew by almost like 1300% as a company. And from nowhere, virtual interviewing became a norm. So definitely there is a method to the madness. Now, couple of companies where I have worked, where I have seen this journey of migrating in terms of digital, there was certain thought through processes that we put in. So first and foremost, for any digital transformation, what I believe is you need a business case, right? For the boardroom to actually sign off on certain initiatives, you need to show what it will bring on the table, right? So the first and foremost is building the business case for digital transformation. Now, digital transformation as a word actually came in 2013. You'll be very surprised. Till 2013, there was no word as such used. But people were talking about technology, investment in technology and other things. But when it became more about software, when it became more about cloud, when it became more about process improvements, change in way of working, it was all bucketed under the ambit of digital transformation. So first is business case for the change. What are our customers' expectation today? For example, in our industry, if you see, so we are in apparel manufacturing, right? So we provide manufacturing services to some of the biggest brands in the world. So for them, we have seasons, right? And we have orders based on the seasons. Our business is very simple. We manufacture based on the orders and we ship it on time, where customers who are the end customers across the world, wherever they are, they end up purchasing it on time before the season is over. So time is of utmost essence in our industry, because if that ship leaves without our container, means it's loss. It's total loss for us. So supply chain is one area where we really needed digital, right? The ERP in which, you know, the whole ordering mechanism, the manufacturing, the operations, the coordination between the whole organization to ensure that that goal is met. That whole ERP system was something which needed to be, you know, looked into. So there was definitely a business case built. Then you have to define your digital transformation strategy. What I mean by that, now there are various stages of transformation, right? The first stage is contact. So when you say that, okay, today I am doing a process like this and it is not working, what can I do to make it work? So the first stage is contact. Second is awareness. Okay, what are the best in class available in the market? That is when we do benchmarking to see, you know, who is the best in class in this area. And for that comes in your McKinsey's, BCG's, Arthur Anderson's of the world, you know, who will come and say, hey, we can tell you how the world runs, right? And that is when you invest in consulting and you take, advice. And then comes understanding. So once they tell you, okay, this is the best in class and everything, they'll say, okay, you need SAP, okay? And that is when the understanding comes in, and then starts the discussion, negotiation, whatever you call it. And then comes the implementation or the trial use, as we say. You know, that could be, now I am talking specifically about a software implementation, but you could even think about, there are various aspects of digitalization, right? So in a manufacturing shop floor, it could be a IoT, like Internet of Things, you know, how can we automate the processes, bring more robotics for better efficiencies, etc. But I'll stick to this because this is more seen in the market. And then comes limited use, which is what you will do your user acceptance testing and you will do your pilot. And once that is successful, you will do institutionalization, which means you will take it to the wider enterprise. Typically, this is how digital transformation exercise goes. Some of the examples that we can see as shining light as far as customer is concerned, right? You want to participate? I think you all are getting bored. Can you give me any examples of a great digital transformation from a customer perspective? Hello? Hello? Yes? UPI. Shining example for India across the world now, right? Even US is saying this can break us. So a definite alternative to Visa and MasterCard, right? A shining example of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So I could never imagine in a interior remote parts of UP a person going and buying a pan for 20 rupees and paying through Paytm, right? When I was a child, I could never imagine, right? But today it's happening. The say, you know, it's not limited only to paper anymore. It's become digital. It's anywhere and everywhere, right? So huge advantage for a normal human being, right? I don't need to carry a wallet. I don't have this fear of getting mugged anywhere, right? But it brings its challenges. There are more intelligent scammers in the market to fleece you, your money in just one stroke, right? So, so what it brings along with it is your need to get upskilled, right? And I'll focus on that word more for next 10 minutes because I think as MBAs, as management professionals, for us, the biggest takeaway from this session should be the core importance of upskilling to be in the game, right? And the game is on, nobody can stop it, right? Even if we want. We will say that, okay, EVs. Does everybody think that electric vehicles are the future? Whoever thinks electric vehicle is the future, just raise your hand. Nobody thinks. So you are saying petrol and diesel cars will remain forever, is it? Come on. Yes. You raised your hand. Bolo, zor se bolo. Hybrid. I think hybrid is going to be the future. Okay. How many of you think hydrogen is going to be the future? Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other technology which I'm not aware of, which you think should be the future for mobility? I'm saying. Okay, so some stats. I'm very interested in this area. I'm an early adopter of EV. So Norway as a country, 67% of personal transport is already electrified in Norway, and 97% of their electricity generation is renewable, right? So definitely fossil fuel is not the future because it has its life stage. Electric vehicle also, there are a lot of technologies. We are today having lithium as the main component, but there are already 4 companies who have patented sodium ion. As of last week, the biggest news in our market is that our own Indian company KPIT has successfully patented sodium ion batteries, which with a similar weight has a range of close to 1200 kilometers, right? Where conventional cars are today giving us 300 kilometers, which doesn't have any thermal runaway and which has a charging cycle of almost 4000 cycles compared to the conventional batteries of 1000 to 1500 cycles, which means a battery will always outlive the structural life of the car, right? So you might have a future where actually your car's body will be replaced but battery will continue, right? So definitely, when you come up with your strategy, you have to see the end in mind, right? If you have read The Business at the Speed of Thought of Bill Gates, the whole essence of Microsoft coming into being is because he felt that, it's not user-friendly. The current system is not user-friendly. If you give user-friendly, more people will adopt it. And the rest is history, right? So he could have the vision to see what the future is, what the customer wanted. So customer should be at the center of your digital transformation strategy. If you look at digital transformation strategy to quick fix your current problems, it may not yield the kind of results. It may not be transformation. It can bring some change, right? But for transformation, you have to keep customer in the center. Second, people play a very big role in it, and that is my favorite area, and that is where I brought the point of upskilling, right? Because as a HR guy, I feel that the 64% of the companies which fail is primarily because they don't have the talent to do it. Money everybody has today, or the banks can provide. Software, systems, hardware, everybody can buy. It's available in the market, but skills, that you have to get, right? So, say half of the such projects fail because the correct technical expertise is not there in the team, right? So, people plays very important role. In a large and legacy organization, and I'm sure most of you will join such organizations, which has been around for a long time, which has a lot of departments, a lot of head of departments, CXOs. In large organizations, many times there are a lot of silos, Every department has their goal sheets. They are concerned about their goal sheets getting fulfilled. So in such siloed organizations, the silos can also kill the digital transformation, right? So that is also one of the pitfalls. So it's very important that the top management or the top executives of the company, they sponsor this. They not only sponsor this, they embrace it. They not only embrace it, they communicate it. They not only communicate it, they preach it, you know. And in every review mechanisms, in your goal sheets, in your OKRs, it is important that this takes a center stage. You know, you disproportionately invest in digital transformation journey, but at the same time, in your review, you are only asking about the top line and bottom line. Then the transformation will go in its own way, right? So how am I prioritizing as a leader digital transformation in my day-to-day running of the business is also very critical, I believe. Another very important and critical factor which, you know, Mr. Sundar Pichai was talking about in one of his, you know, lectures. What is the ability of the organization to embrace temporary setbacks? Okay, because when you are on a digital transformation journey, you already have your legacy systems, you already have your legacy way of working. So when you are changing, there will be definitely sparks, right? So what is my ability to accept failures or temporary setbacks, as I say? Why? Because obviously the future is going to be, if I am able to reward system is not allowing that space, then many a times the transformation takes a setback, right? And people tend to go back to their comfort space or the zone of using the legacy system only to continue, right? Or let's say, you know, the leaders asking for those typical reports only. So I'll give you one very, you know, classic example. In one of the organizations that I work for, we had implemented a HR management software. So it was an end-to-end software, did the complete company paperless, right? And the dashboard, the people dashboard was up there. So based on your login, if you're a CEO, you can see the entire dashboard end-to-end. You just need to toggle the screens and see. It was a complete Power BI based, nice, intuitive, color-coded reports, right? How leaders want. Prior to this implementation, every month, before 5th of the month, we used to send one PPT with everything. So after this went live, we went, so as a leader, I myself went and trained one-on-one. Everything was done. 6th of the next month, same mail is coming. Where is the dashboard? You know? Now, obviously, you know, you can say that it could be it could be, you know, lack of sight or memory problem or whatever. But at the underlying, I think the cause is that embracing change is always very tough. And the change management plays a very critical role in digital transformation. As Professor Peter Drucker said, I don't know if Peter Drucker said, some people say that some executive in Ford said that culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? So that line is quite commonly used these days in conferences. But that actually fits for digital transformation. If you don't fine-tune your people processes, practices, review mechanisms, and your daily life, work life around the digital transformation, then the exercise will fail, right? So that's all from me. You know, I try to keep it with less jargons, more practical in terms of how it happens in the organizational context. Having said that, you know, almost every company that I worked for are today disproportionately investing in digital. One of the companies which I love and I miss, Titan. When I joined there around 12 years back, we'd launched a customer loyalty program called N Circle, which I'm sure many of you will be aware of if you buy their products like whatever. N Circle today is probably India's one of the best customer management program, right? So that's it from me. I think I'm getting, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. George Varghese, for speaking on digital change and why it fails, and stressing on the need for transformation, especially in the current world. I'd now like to invite our Dean, Dr. A.R. Rajgopalan, to honor our chief guest with a memento. We have now come to the close of our inauguration ceremony. I invite Professor Rajendra Desai to brief us about the next 2 days.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have had a very good initiation.
Welcome to St. Joseph's Institute of Management, Bangalore. Karnataka's oldest business school, established in 1968. SJIM is part of a 450-year-old international network of Jesuit educational institutions.
SJIM's greatest strength is its brand image, which is born out of its rich heritage. Our extensive alumni network, built up over 65 years, make our graduates recognized and respected for their values and work ethic in the industry.
Our campus is off MG Road in Bangalore Central Business District, where students experience excellent infrastructure and cutting-edge technologies.
We are one of the top 5 business schools in Bangalore, and we were ranked in the top 125 business schools in India in the Government of India's NIRF rankings. Our program is recognized by the AICTE and the AIU, and we are NBA accredited and are moving towards the international AACSB accreditation.
Our average salary is around 9 lakhs per annum. This year, the highest placement offer made was 22 lakhs and has been steadily increasing. We consistently place almost 100% of our students in top MNCs and in a domain of their choice.
We proactively embrace students of diverse backgrounds. SJIM believes that no students should be denied admission due to lack of funds. Our fees are affordable, there are collateral-free loans available from SBI, and large number of our students do get scholarships. Hostel facilities are available for both boys and girls.
Throughout the year, there are many cultural, co-curricular and sports activities which help us build strong bonds with each other. SJIM is an inclusive institution where different backgrounds are respected and talents are developed.
We have an excellent faculty body drawn from some of India's and the world's leading institutions and many opportunities to connect with the industry. Students can specialize in 2 out of 5 specializations which we offer, which are finance, marketing, human resources management, business analytics and operations.
At SJIM, the hallmark is the synergy between academia and industry. Frequent industry conclaves are organized. Alumni mentorship is facilitated. Industry visits are arranged. And strategic partnerships are fostered. All within the dynamic ecosystem for nurturing tomorrow's leaders.
At SJIM, we take pride in nurturing the global mindset, a commitment reflected in our strategic collaborations with business schools in US, Mexico, Spain, Philippines, Malaysia and Taiwan.
Our selection process is firmly based on merit. We evaluate academic excellence, entrance exam scores like CAT, work experience, and conduct rigorous personal interviews. We look for well-rounded individuals with domain knowledge and strong communication. St. Joseph's Institute of Management, where opportunities are boundless, friendships are lifelong, and dreams are within reach. Join us at St. Joseph's Institute of Management, Bangalore, and be a part of a journey that will change your life trajectory.